are talking about chapter 13. In chapter 13, there are two characters, two beasts. John is going to first describe them as separate entities, but later on in Revelation, we're going to see that these two things, these two beasts, have actually come together, and they're really talking about the same thing. But this morning, they're two different beasts, and I think that's for a purpose. The first beast is said to come rising up out of the sea. Remember, the sea is like the anti-creation. It's where monsters live. For an agricultural society, it's a dangerous place to be. The sea represents chaos and destruction. And so that's where this first beast rises out of, the realm of spiritual evil. It has 10 horns, 7 heads, and 10 diadems. Rome is said to be the empire of 7 hills. So I think that's what's going on with the 7 here. 10 diadems. Diadems are a crown. Domitian is the 10th emperor of Rome. So it's like John is saying, flashing red lights. This is Rome. This beast is the Roman Empire. Now, for us today, while it's anchored in Rome because that's what he wrote about in his time, the beast comes to take on a larger effect of meaning any beast throughout any generation, any empire that comes up out of the sea that is anti-creation. And we'll see more about that at the end of this chapter. This language that comes in this passage about this sea beast is coming straight from Daniel 7. Listen to this. Daniel has this apocalyptic vision of his own, and he sees a beast rising up out of the sea. There are 4 of them, actually. One's like a lion with wings of an eagle. One is like a bear. Another's like a leopard. And then there's this 4th beast in Daniel 7 that doesn't get a name or an image, but is somehow described as being worse than all the others. It's terrifying, frightening, very powerful. This is Daniel 7:7. It has large iron teeth, and it crushes and devours its victims. It tramples them underfoot, whatever is left. It's different from all the other beasts, and it has 10 horns. Daniel is using this imagery to describe this conquering empire of his day. There are 4 empires of his day: Babylon, Media, Greece, and Persia, but one of them is greater than all the others. So now in Revelation, drawing on that Old Testament imagery, along with the cultural context of the day, to describe this larger than life beast that is crushing God's people. Okay, this was written in like the 90s AD. Just 20 years before, John and his contemporaries had witnessed the destruction of the temple in 70 AD at the hands of Roman emperors. And so this image is fresh in their mind, and they're trying to decide, how do you even communicate about what this beast is really like? And they're using this imagery from Daniel 7. So the first beast is Rome, this conquering empire who is crushing God's people and all that is culturally theirs. But then there's the second beast, and this beast rises up out of the earth. Okay, if the sea is decreation, the place where monsters dwell, then the earth we've seen in Revelation is God's place. It's where God is going to rescue his people. It's the earth. It's one of the first things that gets created in Genesis 1. There's the sea and the earth. And this beast looks like a lamb. So it comes from God's place, and it looks like a lamb, which we've seen in Revelation to be talking about Jesus, but it spoke like a dragon. And we've already met the dragon. We know what's up with the dragon. So what is this talking about? The second beast is even, I think, more dangerous than the first, because this second beast is like a false prophet. It comes from within God's people. It looks good. It looks like a lamb, but it speaks like a dragon. This, I think, is referring to all of the people, the leaders of Israel or whoever else, who thinks that you can worship God, come from the lamb, and yet also speak like the dragon or speak empire language. This is what John was talking about in the letters that Jesus wrote to the 7 churches. You can't serve 2 masters. You can't speak like the dragon and be like the lamb. You've got to choose. The allegiance has to be toward one of the other. And the second beast in this image is of those who think that it's okay to compromise. So you have empire as one beast, and then you have this false prophet. But again, what John is going to show, what Revelation is going to show, is that they're actually one enemy that all stems from the ultimate enemy, which is the dragon. And then we get this interlude that has been blown up into all kinds of just crazy stuff about the mark of the beast at the end of chapter 13. Rich and poor, free and slave. If you're going to buy and sell, then you have to be marked either on the right hand or the forehead. Now, this does not mean that sometime in the future we're going to get little computer chips implanted so that we can buy or sell in our hands or our foreheads. What is this talking about? It's talking about allegiance. All throughout the Old Testament, I wish we had time. Go read the email. We'll talk more about this. Putting something on your forehead or on your hand is a sign of allegiance. Masters would mark their slaves as a sign that they belong to them. In the Exodus 28, the high priest marked their forehead with a symbol belonging to the Lord. Go read Deuteronomy 6 about how God's people are supposed to bind his commandments on their hands or on their forehead. All this is talking about is where you give your allegiance to. Do you belong to the Lord, or do you belong to the beast? Do you bear the mark of the beast? And what is the mark of the beast? 666. We've talked about this before. If 7 is the number of completion, and in Jewish repetition theology, 3 times is the utmost, so holy, 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 777 would be like the utmost perfection, then what is 666? It is the number of imperfection. It's 1 less than 7, and you're repeating it 3 times. It is the ultimate opposite of God. Where God is perfection and peace and shalom, this is imperfection of the highest caliber. So where is your allegiance? That's what this whole passage is being drawn to. Do you come from God's realm, but do you speak like the beast? Do you bear his mark on your forehead? Whose allegiance do you claim? Do you belong to the Lord, or do you belong to the empire? This is the question at the heart of chapter 13. And I think for obvious reasons, it's a question that all of us have to wrestle with today. It talks about no one can buy and sell unless he has the mark. There's cultural context there, but just think about that for a moment. In our society today, what does your purchasing power show your allegiance to? Does it show that you belong to empire, or that you belong to God? What are the things that we give our time and our resources and our attention? What do they say we belong to? What do they reveal about our allegiances in the world? This is a question that I've been wrestling this week as I consider what it means to be marked, to belong to Yahweh. I don't want to bear the mark of the beast. I want to really think about how this impacts my life in everything I do, including my economic impact in the world. What does that say about who I am and whose I am? I hope that you'll wrestle with this a little bit this week, even into this weekend. It's not meant to be a condemnation, but a question that all of us have to wrestle with at one point or another. It's not new. Thousands of years ago, this is the same question that they were still dealing with, and it's a question that we will continue to deal with here in the midst of this world that we live in. Hope you're enjoying this series so far and getting a lot out of it. We'd love to hear what you think. We'll see you back here again next week.